This is my 2010 Peugeot RCZ HDI, and on this video I'm going to be chasing a knock in my suspension. So far I've changed the inner tie rods and the outer tie rods, but the noise is still there. So join me on this video where we try and fix the problem by changing some more parts out. I've now decided I'm going to change all the shock absorbers, so you join me now on my way to get some. My mate Andy said that I could have some low mileage front struts for 70 quid. Car's only done 52,000 miles. I'm heading there now and hopefully this will sort my issue. Okay guys, so I've just been to Andy's and I've got the two front struts. They just need a really good clean, but they are in really good condition. I'm also going to order some new top mounts as well, just to roll those out. So hopefully this will fix this annoying noise that I've got. Okay, so now I've got the suspension home. I'm going to give it a really good clean in the dishwasher. I've put some degreaser all over it, and then I'm going to put in the dishwasher tablet, and then hopefully these will come out just like new. Okay, so it's been through the dishwasher and it's got most of the dirt off and everything, which is fine. Now I've just removed the spring, and look, this is what happens with standard RCZ springs. They put this rubber seal on, I don't know why, but what happens is over time water sits in this rubber seal, and then over time it just rusts through and cracks. That doesn't matter because obviously I've got the H&R lowering springs that's going on here. I took the old top mounts off and look what I found. This one just came apart. It's absolutely knackered. Now it's a good thing that I ordered Febby Bilstein ones because they're brand new, and look at this. The only thing you have to retain is the spring seat, which I'm going to keep with this because I'm going to paint all this now. So we'll keep those together and I think this will clean up quite well. The rubber's not too bad. This came off a 2015 car. It's 10 years old, but I think with a bit of cleaning that'll be fine. Okay, so I've took the other one off, and it's a good thing I am changing both of these top mounts because look at that. That ripped out the other top mount. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is get my drill, and I'm going to make all the rust disappear, and then I'm going to use some of this Hammerite, which is metal paint, and apparently it protects up to 8 years. So I'm going to crack on getting rid of this rust. So I've wire brushed everything and they've come up really well, especially these just here. They're great. So now I'm going to hit them with some of the Hammerite and we'll see how these come out.
A few moments later.
Here is the finished result. It's come out quite nice. It's going to stop the rust coming through. I even painted the aluminium bits because they actually looked like that inside. I didn't paint the inside here because you're not going to see that. For second hand, low mileage, I think these have come out really well. So let's get these fitted to the car. First, remove the two caliper bolts at the back of the caliper, and then use your screwdriver to push the piston back. Then move the caliper out of the way and hook it onto the anti-roll bar. Next, remove the top of the drop link, then unbolt the ABS sensor. Now loosen both the bolts off of the bottom of the damper that connects it to the hub, and then wrap a bit of rope around the back of the subframe and around the disc brake to prevent the drive shaft moving out of place. Next, remove both the wiper arms, which is just a cap and 2/16s, and then remove the two 32mm Torx bits and remove the cowling. Back under the car, remove the two bolts you've just loosened. Now undo the 21mm bolt at the top of the damper and then just slide out the whole coil over. Let's see what the difference is between a 150,000 mile shock absorber and a 50,000 mile shock absorber. And the one on the left was harder to push down than the one on the right. So let's see what happens. You can clearly see the one on the left takes longer to come up, but this definitely feels stiffer, so I think that's a win. So let's put the spring on. Okay, that's in. Now I'll take this off. So this is the new top mount with a new bearing in, so you just pop that in, doesn't matter which way around. If you see how much smoother that is compared to this one, you can hear the grind. Like those bearings were on the way out. So it comes with all new nuts as well, which is Febby Bilstein. Part number is here. And what we're going to do now is get the spring seat, which is the rubber one that I painted. Once you've aligned the spring within the spring seat, then put the top mount on and push the thread through the hole. So I've just made sure that this was lined up properly, and so is the one at the bottom. And now I'm just going to push this on because obviously I've got lowering springs, so I don't need a spring compressor. Always remember to thread it on with your fingers as well. Now I need to tighten her up. And there we go. When this nut starts spinning with this, that's when you know it's tight enough. Now I've just got to align these rubber parts. So if you look under here, there's two nibs either side, and you kind of line it up with those. If you look, you can just move these with your hand to where you want it, but obviously make sure they're sat properly here and here, which it is. And then I think it's about there. And then what happens next is, and if I remember, the nut goes on like that on top of the strut, and that's what holds it in place as well. So I'm going to thread this back onto the car, get it all lined up, and then I'll tighten everything down. First, align the strut into the hub, then loosely fit one of the bolts just to hold it in place. Align the nibs and then tighten the bolt at the top. Then tighten the strut bolts to the hub. Reattach the drop link and then reconnect the ABS sensor. Remove the rope and then reattach the brake hose bracket. Once you've checked everything is tightened and correct, then reattach the brake caliper. Okay, so there you go, it's all in. I'm going to go on to the next side now. Okay, so I've done the fronts. I'm going to do the backs tomorrow, but this is a moment of truth. Have I got rid of that suspension knock on the front left? Fingers crossed. Please, car gods, let this be fixed. Please, please. Oh no, I think it's still there. Is it still there? Hang on. I'm not sure if that is there or not anymore. Let's try again. Still there. Let's see if I can replicate it going over uneven ground. It's still there. It's still there. God damn it. Right, there's only two things left it could possibly be. That's either going to be an engine mount or the lower arms.
Tomorrow.
Good morning. So after a really bad night's sleep, I was doing so much research trying to find out what the hell is going on with this knocking sound, and I came to the conclusion everybody who took the car into Peugeot, different garages, changed pretty much exactly what I changed, but it all came down to the front right engine mount. Apparently this is a common problem, and apparently they are filled with some kind of fluid, and if that fluid leaks they just deteriorate really quickly, and this leads to the engine moving around and knocking, which does make sense because it only does it over speed bumps and unsettled ground. So this morning I messaged my friend Andy. He has got a front engine mount from the same RCZ that I got the low mileage front shocks from. Let's head over to Andy's now, get the part, get those rear dampers fitted and fit this new engine mount to see if we have finally cracked this knocking sound. I can't believe it. I've just driven all the way to Andy's, which is about a 35-minute drive, and unfortunately his was leaking. I noticed a tiny pinprick in the rubber underneath because they're all full of fluid, and unfortunately that had failed. So I need to somehow get hold of one. I'm gonna ring Euro Car Parts. All right, I might have to pay a premium for it, but let's just try and find one. Also, since I've fit the new shocks, I've noticed the steering is not straight anymore, so I'm going to probably nip in, get the tracking done. I don't want to chew my tyres up or anything like that. Let's source an engine mount. Okay, so I've just had my alignment done again at Quick Fit, and everything's back in line again. I've already ordered the engine mount off of eBay, managed to get it for 42 quid, so that was a real bargain because they were coming up at like 50-60 quid. I'll fit the dampers and then I'll wait for the new part to arrive. Okay, so the car's now up in the air. I'm now going to attempt to remove this bottom bolt first, which is a 13 on this side and a 16 on this side, but I'm going to use heat because these tend to seize a lot. When heating up the bolts, I like to do 90 seconds per side. This stops the inner bush from melting. Once that's done, release the bolts and knock them out with a hammer. Okay, so that's out. I forgot to mention, you need to jack this up very slightly on the bottom cup to release the tension off the strut, because otherwise you'll do what I did when I fitted the lowering springs, as you can see it, but I ended up threading one of the bolts, which I've got a replacement for. One of the reasons I'm changing this strut is because that has perished. So this needs replacing anyway because it was an MOT advisory. Next, I'm going to take these mud flaps off and take all this guard out so it gives me better access up there. To get to the top of the strut, we need to remove 5 10mm plastic bolts. Once they're removed, just pull the wheel liner away. Okay, so here you can see my before. Because I didn't support the strut with a jack and compress it slightly, it put an angle on here and I've stripped it out, so I've had to repair it with copper wire. So I'm going to zip these out now, and I've also bought a tapping kit so I can repair that hole. And also I went down to the scrapyard and got a new bolt as well. It cost me a £5. So problem solved. If you do make a mistake, there are ways of fixing it. To remove the strut, just remove the 2 bolts. So now it's out, you can see what an absolute mess up I made of that. So I'm going to re-drill this out, tap it out and put in the helicoil, and that should then now be repaired after I do that. So the first thing I'm doing here is just drilling out the damaged threads using a bit of WD-40 just to cool it down. Then I attach my tapping thread to my drill so it creates a thread inside the metal. Once I've done that, I then insert the helicoil using a special tool and then knock it out with the punch that's provided in the kit. There you go, that's the helicoil in. That is a really good bit of kit if you're getting a pickle. I didn't have the right threading tool, so I had to use my drill, but it still works. I'm gonna now fit the new damper. So looking at these, there's not much difference. I don't think it matters which way around it is because it's pretty much the same on each side. What I will do though is we'll see the difference in a 50,000 mile one and a 150,000 mile one. Go. The new one is definitely quicker. The old one is definitely squishier when you squish it. And listen, and this one a lot harder to push. I'm pretty sure this old one's knackered. Right, let's get on with fitting this. Slide the strut into the bottom arm and then hand tighten the bolts into the top of the strut. Once you're happy with that, then tighten them all up. Before moving to the bottom of the strut, sliding the bolt in before tightening everything up and then lowering the jack. Okay, so that's in. I cannot tell you how good these helicoil kits are. If you're getting a rut, get one of these, mate. They're absolutely brilliant. She's solid, all nice and tight. So let's put the wheel back on and get and do the other side. I'm now going to take the car for a test drive. I doubt it'll make any difference, but we'll give it a go. There used to be a bit of squeaking from the back, which were those split bushes. So hopefully at least the squeaking at the back will have gone. So let's see what happens. Okay, so these are the speed bumps. Now. Right, so we're getting there. So the front one is obviously still there. There, can you hear that? But the rear squeak has gone now because those were the split bushes rubbing against each other. Listen, so that's the front. Look how good the back is now. So I have ordered the engine mount, which I got a really good deal off eBay actually, for 42 quid. So that should be here in about 2 days, and it's quite easy to do. Join me on the next video when we try and change out some engine mounts. As always, thanks ever so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.